Most of us walk through life under the quiet, comforting illusion that we're free. We wake up each morning, make our choices, chase our ambitions, and move toward goals that feel uniquely our own. On the surface, it all looks like freedom. But look a little closer, and a different, more unsettling picture begins to emerge. Freedom, as we usually understand it, slips through our fingers the moment we really try to grasp it. And the reason for this isn't out of control, as we're often told. Not governments or corporations or other people holding the chains. No, the prison is subtler, closer, and more personal. The prison is within. Think for a moment about what shapes your day. What determines your choices, large and small? Is it a calm, conscious clarity, or is it something more automatic? Most of us aren't comfortable with the answer. We realize, when we're honest, that we're living according to patterns, habits, fears, old wounds, and beliefs we never truly examined. We're carrying a quiet, invisible prison with us, made of the stories we tell ourselves, the identities we cling to, and the endless web of shoulds and have-tos that whisper in our ears. But here's the good news. Across all times and places, every genuine spiritual teacher, every wisdom tradition, has been pointing to a way out. They don't promise escape to some far-off paradise or mystical state, but instead a deeper, truer freedom, right in the midst of our ordinary lives. It isn't about finding something new, it's about waking up to what's already here. If we can see through the prison, we can walk free, maybe for the first time. To do that, we have to first recognize the ways our freedom is compromised, subtly and persistently. The unfreedom is real, and until we see it, we're powerless to change it. Let's peel back the layers together. The first layer is what we might call mechanical living. Most people, most of the time, go through the motions on autopilot. The alarm rings and your hand finds the snooze button before you're even aware of being awake. You get dressed, get breakfast, get to work. Not out of a series of conscious choices, but because that's what you did yesterday and the day before. Even our worries, our conversations, our desires repeat in familiar circuits. Life becomes routine, predictable, and strangely empty. We believe we're making choices, but those choices are echoes, not creations. To truly be free, we'd have to wake up from the automatic pilot. We'd have to see not just our outer routines, but the inner patterns, the recurring worries, the old emotional setups that dictate our days. Each time we react mechanically, each time we fall into the same argument, replay the same doubts, or soothe ourselves with the same distractions, we dig the rut a little deeper. If you want to start breaking free, the first step is observation. Not harsh scrutiny, but a gentle curiosity. Try, just for a moment, to see yourself in action, without immediately justifying or explaining. How often are you truly choosing, and how often are you simply repeating? The very act of watching, with real honesty and presence, starts to loosen the invisible chains. It's like discovering you're a character in a play, and realizing you might be able to step off stage. But mechanical living has a partner: emotional reactivity. Think about the last time you got angry at a stranger in traffic, took offense at a careless word, or felt a rush of jealousy or fear for reasons you couldn't fully explain. In those moments, you weren't in control. Some part of you got triggered, and before your conscious mind could intervene, you were drowning in a storm of feeling. It's easy to dismiss these moments as just being emotional, but deeper down, they reveal the structure of our inner prison. Emotional reactions aren't random. They're the surface eruptions of old wounds, unmet needs, and deep-seated beliefs about ourselves and the world. If someone's offhand comment shakes your confidence, it isn't the words. It's your underlying fear of not being enough. Most of these patterns are invisible while you're inside them. You act, you react, and only later, sometimes much later, do you realize how little agency you had. But if even once you manage to notice a reaction as it's arising, without suppressing it and without acting it out, something changes. The puppet starts to see the strings, and with each observation the strings lose a little of their grip. Beyond emotional reactivity lies the endless chatter of the mind, the mental overload that colors almost every waking moment. This is the voice that second-guesses everything you say, that replays past conversation, that worries endlessly about the future. It's the mind that tells you what will go wrong, what you should have said, what you mustn't forget. It's the voice you can't seem to silence. Most people never question whether this voice is telling the truth. They assume because a thought arose, it must be relevant or important. But your mind is a storyteller, not an oracle. While it can serve you, it often becomes a runaway servant, churning out worries and fantasies that keep you anxious and distracted. Realizing you are not your thoughts is a seismic shift. When you see clearly that the mind is just creating stories, sometimes helpful, sometimes not, you can stop believing every thought that passes through. The thoughts continue, but their power weakens. Freedom comes not from controlling every mental impulse, but from seeing that they are not the master. You can watch them without being pulled into their drama. Still deeper lies the mystery of identity. Who exactly are you? The roles you play, employee, parent, friend, are important, but are they who you really are? The stories you tell about yourself, are they true or just useful shorthand? Many of our most stubborn problems come from clinging to ideas about ourselves. I am successful. I am a failure. I am lovable. I am not good enough. We gather these identities over a lifetime, and we defend them fiercely. But every genuine teacher, every true wisdom tradition, points us beyond our stories. They invite us to look for the witness, the silent awareness that was there before we learned our names, before we had opinions, before we learned to fear or to want. This awareness isn't touched by success or failure. It isn't agitated by praise or blame. It's the backdrop of all experience, steady and unchanging, no matter what drama unfolds. Touching this place, even for a second, is like coming home. Suddenly, you aren't at the mercy of every thought or mood. You're not fighting to maintain a fragile image. You know yourself as the awareness in which all these things come and go. This is the birthplace of true freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever you like, not the freedom to manipulate life to fit your preferences, but the freedoms to be unshaken amid life's storms. If this is what awakens in you, everything changes. Decisions become easier. Relationships become less fraught with expectation and resentment. Even your suffering takes on a new quality. It becomes something to observe, to learn from, not something to be endlessly fought or avoided. You move from being an actor lost in your part to the author who can rewrite the script. Walking this path doesn't require you to become a monk or to leave your life behind. The methods have always been simple, available in every tradition. The first is self-observation, watching yourself as you would watch a stranger with honesty and compassion. What are your habits? When do you lose your balance? What stories do you tell when you're afraid? Next, invite moments of stillness. Sit quietly, if only for a minute, and notice the space between thoughts. Notice the sensation of breathing. Notice the sensations in your body. Each moment of genuine stillness is a crack in the walls of your prison. Radical inquiry is another tool. Every time a painful belief arises, I can't do this, I'm not enough, I'll always be alone, pause to ask, is this really true? How do I know? Who would I be without this story? This kind of questioning can shake loose identities and assumptions that once seemed solid as stone. Surrender is essential too. So often, we try to control life, to micromanage our experiences, to avoid pain, to guarantee success. But real freedom comes when we learn to trust, when we let go of needing to control everything and permit ourselves to flow with whatever comes, meeting life with openness and resilience. Compassion, especially for yourself, dissolves much of the inner prison. The parts of yourself you reject, the anxious, the insecure, the imperfect, are precisely what keep you chained. When you meet them with love, you stop fighting with yourself. The war ends, and a deeper peace emerges. Above all, return to presence again and again. Notice where you are. Feel your breath. The only moment you can ever be free is now, not in the memories of the past, not in dreams of someday, but right here. Each time you return to this moment, the walls of the inner prison become a little less substantial. So the real question isn't what philosophy you should study, which guru you should follow, or which technique you should master. The question is simpler and far more challenging. Are you ready to see yourself as you are? Not as you imagine, not as you wish to be, but as you are? Are you ready to let go of the masks, the labels, the old stories? If you are, then the journey begins, not by adding more, but by subtracting, by letting go, by coming home to yourself, to the silent awareness that's always been watching, waiting, patient and unchanging. Here, and only here, you find the freedom that can never be taken from you. And that, more than anything else, is the freedom worth seeking. A freedom built not on escape, but on awakening.